Good morning, everyone. Captain Ezra here with Southern Gunner Bait Runner Club. So good morning. Kind of new to this whole thing, but I thought I would do a series of videos on insight, usage reviews of pretty much anything and everything under the sun. Just a little back story real quick about me. I'm a 100-ton master captain, licensed. Sail endorsement, towing endorsement. Have a Class A CDL, did some flatbed trucking stuff, worked a bunch of different jobs on the ocean, and about 20 years plus in the outdoor industry. Everything from rock climbing, mountain biking, kayak instruction, windsurfing instruction, ice climbing, backpacking, tons of that stuff with really high-end specialty gear. Sold it, used it a lot. Got to work with companies, that made this gear. All the big companies: North Face, Patagonia, Mountain Hardwear, Columbia, all that stuff. So I thought maybe I'd take some of that experience and share with you guys. So anyway, I had an idea. I grew up in the country. Grandmother, dad, everyone made percolator coffee. Percolator, old school style, really good. I enjoy it. I still make percolator coffee to this day at home on the driftwood here, my 32-foot home sailboat at the moment. We'll talk about that later. So anyway, a couple of these percolators I've used at home and at camp. I've noticed a few things that that differentiates the two from a good one and then one that's kind of a pain in the rear when you use it some. So anyway, I'll show you what I'm talking about. So first one here, this is a GSI. You can pick these up at most outdoor shops. This is the second one I have. The other one is really worn out. It's black, nasty. Still works though. Used it on campfires, camp stoves, everything else. That's in storage at the moment, but this is my replacement. I picked this up at REI. It's about maybe $35, depending on which REI you are close to, because retail prices change. Anyway, that one is what I'm using now. I picked this one up a while back. Pretty good deal. It's this Stanley. This is I want to say a 6-cup. This is a 6-cup as well. Stanley's tall, kind of conical, bigger at the bottom, smaller at the top. This is pretty uniform. This looks like a big soup can. One of the things that I noticed about this guy when I used it, I didn't like so much, is it seemed to take a while for it to heat up. And I don't know if it's just the depth of the water this way as opposed to that way, because water heats, the heat circulates up. If it's this deep, it's going to heat up faster and circulate. Anyway, we won't go into super science. But here's the thing that I noticed. I'm going to tilt this over and see if you can see that. See, this is the percolator basket. See all that play in there? It's kind of recessed in. See this flat lid? Yeah. So if you don't know much about percolators, this is how they work. Figured maybe I should point that out. This guy here is your little basket stand. Perforated on the bottom, sits down, water heats up, comes up this little straw. Put your coffee into here, your basket. By the way, you need to use like a really heavy grit coffee, like a really coarse ground. If not, it'll kind of fall through those little holes. Anyway, that sits on here. This comes into that. Sits in the percolator. The water heats up, perks up through here, splashes down, thus draining through your coffee. You end up really cooking a pot of coffee with a percolator, not so much, like a regular coffee pot that drips water over it. Anyway, that's a long story later for making coffee. We'll do a campfire story with that. How about that? We'll make some coffee. But yeah, you cook percolator coffee. Anyway, so the thing with that is it's sitting down inside and has all this play. And you want to go by what the manufacturer of your coffee says about how many tablespoons to get the good, coffee. So you're not filling that basket up so much. Now the GSI. Watch this. We flip this open. See how that's recessed in there with this little cap? Doesn't move around. I'm going to pull this little strainer cap off. See that? So the neat thing about this lid stays in place. I hope you can see this. Just doing this off of an iPhone, guys, so bear with me. This the coffee's going to expand, right? The coffee grounds when the water percolates in it. One thing I noticed with this Stanley is if you try to put adequate coffee in there for a good stout cup of coffee, it starts to expand. The water is going to bubble up a little bit, which I noticed was really bad in this conical design. It pushed this lid off, right? Like this. It had play in it. And so all your grounds bubbled over and got into your pot. Some people say, oh, well, that's like an old school cowboy style. And I've heard stories you can take old eggshells when you crack your eggs in your skillet and make campfire eggs. You put your eggshells, rinsed off, of course, in there, and it's supposed to help magically make the coffee grounds settle to the bottom. I don't know. I might have tried that in the past, but obviously it didn't have that much of an effect on me if I'm not bringing it up now. I just like to keep the coffee clean as possible. It's campfire coffee. You're going to maybe get a little ground in it, but not that much. Anyway, that's one thing about this design I didn't like. This thing had too much play in it. That bubbled up, got grounds all in my coffee. Had to use a coffee filter to strain it back out. It was a nightmare. This guy, again, the second one I've had. This is the second one, brand new. I can't wait to burn this joker up like the other one. But this lid, as you can see, sits perfectly down on top of the pot. See that? So it's like a perfect little strainer. This isn't going to pop off. The basket below is perfectly situated to lock into that. It's like a foolproof method. These coffees, these guys are just great. And again, the years we sold these at the Backpacker, which is where I primarily had the pleasure of working. Great family, great shop. It was the Backpacker quality gear out of Columbia and one in Mount Pleasant. I hope you guys that ever shopped there remembered it. Maybe I even helped you or a couple of my comrades, but you know, really great shop. Anyway, I've used several, but these GSI, product endorsement, I don't know, GSI coffee pots, man, these percolators are hands down the best. Mine, the old one, had a wooden handle. Pretty sweet. They don't do that anymore. They do this kind of rubber, little grippy, doesn't get hot thing. It's nice, but I kind of like the wood. I'll bring that one out and show it to you sometimes. Pretty cool. Anyway, maybe just something to look for when you're looking for a coffee percolator. A little shorter, more round. I like that base too. Make sure this guy comes out for cleaning your globe up here. Let's get that locked back in. Anyway, if you're shopping around for coffee percolators for the camp, check out your basket. Make sure your lid sits properly onto here. There's no play. This is recessed just enough. Good sized basket. Because remember, that water's going to expand, heat up. It's going to heat that coffee. That coffee ground's going to heat up and expand, and you just don't want anything to fall apart or expand out and ruin your coffee. Because I'm telling you, if you like coffee, and again, back in the mid-90s, I worked in a coffee shop as a barista before Starbucks and before being in a coffee shop was cool. I drank a lot of coffee. So, contrary to popular belief, I know a little bit about some good coffee, but espresso percolators work really good. I like those as well. I got the old standard, drip maker over there. But if you can do a good pot of percolator coffee, I'm telling you, there's nothing like it. It's how the West was won. Anyway, I hope this was somewhat informative for you. Again, I'm just trying this out, and I hope if anybody comes across this, I'm going to try to set up this little subscription thing, but or to follow me or whatever. But like I said, I'm going to start doing a bunch of different, videos on anything and everything. Again, a lot of neat experience I've been fortunate enough to have in my life, from the mountains to the ocean. And would like to at least share that with you and give you a wholehearted bit of advice, maybe instruction, just share that knowledge with you, and reviews on about anything. So if you have any ideas on something you'd like to see or hear about, please let me know. I hope you guys stay tuned, and again, I really appreciate you stopping by. We'll catch up later on. All right, take care.